Hello, everyone. Wesley kept saying, just remember, it's just all these people that you know. So we're going to make this conversational and relaxed as possible. But as Dale mentioned, I'm from YoungLives, and most of you have already heard about YoungLives before, but to give you a little context, YoungLives is a ministry of Young Life, which is a very large organization that started in Texas back in the 1940s, specifically for unchurched kids. It was a Presbyterian youth pastor, and this group of women were praying for the high school across the street from the church, and they challenged him to go across the street and reach the kids who weren't coming to church. And out of that, Jim Rayburn was his name, out of that has grown a ministry that's in 102 countries, 8,000 staff, 80,000 volunteers. So it's a very large organization. But over the course of time, since the 1940s, the organization Young Life found that there was some groups that they weren't reaching. And also the really interesting thing about teenagers, initially it was high school kids, and then they found middle school kids, or it's a really key time to reach kids for the gospel. So they have a ministry called YoungLives, which we're dreaming about starting right here in this building. And a ministry to college-age kids, because adolescence has moved into the 20s now. So now Young Life has ministries all over the globe, really, to college kids. The closest one to us is at Rutgers. And they're reaching kids with the gospel and then training them to be leaders to invest in the high school kids. And then a ministry to kids with special needs, and that's called Capernaum Ministry, which is very exciting. Young Life has made sure they've equipped all of their camps to be wheelchair accessible. So kids in wheelchairs are going down the zip line, are doing the ropes course. Can you even imagine that? It's pretty extraordinary to watch it in action. And then some of their other sub-ministries includes outreach to kids who are children of the military. So they have ministries right on military bases. One of the newest things Young Life has started to do is what they're calling Young Life One, which is kids in foster care, kids who are incarcerated, and kids who have been trafficked as well. So it's pretty exciting how God has continued to open up many, many doors for the ministry of Young Life. But Young Lives specifically is their ministry to teen moms. And it started about 30 years ago. And we started here in North Plainfield in 2002, reaching out to teen moms. So, okay, thanks. So the ministry is, of course, a need. I will say that the teen pregnancy rate in New Jersey is one of the lowest in the country. If you can believe it, something we're doing well in New Jersey. It's pretty extraordinary. The whole Northeast is a little bit lower than the rest of the country in terms of teen pregnancy, but I will say this, that still 2,400 teen births happened in the last year here in New Jersey. What's very interesting as well, and I was hesitant to put the statistic up because it's not as clear here in New Jersey as it is in the city, but the statistics seem to show that more teen moms are choosing abortion than choosing to go ahead and carry their baby to term. So it's significant for us who are pro-life to be reaching these moms while they're pregnant, to offer them the hope of the gospel and hope for them and for their babies. Just knowing about the needs of teen moms and the significance of it. A third of teen moms will not graduate from high school. They're 7 times more likely to commit suicide. Their children are 13% higher chance of being incarcerated, and 22% of them, the children that they have, will become teen parents as well. So the statistics are significantly stacked against teen parents. They just are. We know from what Scripture tells us that the world is continuing to get more and more difficult, and things in this world are pointing to the fact that it's the last days. We all know that. I'm going to read from 2 Timothy chapter 3. But mark this, There will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of good, treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power, and have nothing to do with such people. We also know that we were called to mission, that even though we see how the world is changing, and we've certainly seen that in the last couple of years, and where it seems like there's a lot of hopelessness around us, we also know the power of the gospel, which is why we read the scriptures that we read, how it's transformative for lives. And so, Young Lives, here is the mission to seeks to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with pregnant and parenting teen moms through relationships that model Christ's unconditional love, by addressing needs of teen moms and helping them grow in their faith. Our expectation is not that we're going to present the gospel to them and run out the door, but we want to follow scripture that says we are called to make disciples. And I will say that in my years of working with teen moms, they are hungry for the gospel. They truly are. They want to hear about a hope because they have heard so much around them negativity. Of significant number of our teen moms have experienced sexual abuse. They've been witnesses of domestic violence. We just did a survey of our New York and New Jersey teen moms, and it was shocking how many of our girls have had that kind of exposure. But we also recognize that the power of the gospel changes that story, and we want to be part of that. I mean, certainly we want to be on that train that's moving, that God has set into motion. We're jumping on board of the transforming of lives. And so I'd like to show you a video, and I've showed it here before. It was filmed right here in this building, even though it's being used by Young Life all over the world. So it's pretty exciting that North Plainfield Baptist is what's featured. So we'll take a minute and watch this.
No one should hear the words that young mothers are hearing about themselves. And while I can't erase them, I'm driven by the opportunity to communicate something different that's actually true.
When I first found out that I was having a baby, a lot more. It was stressful at first, a lot of sleepless nights.
I was afraid, nervous, but I was just scared, like I was gonna drop out of school and everything.
I think that the first thing that came was fear, just the fear of judgment, disappointing my mom.
I have to worry about a whole nother human being, especially at a young age. It was really different.
Am I going to be able to reach my goals and the things that I had planned to set out for my life? So it was a very traumatic experience in the beginning. I never would have thought God would use that in the ways that He's used it over the years.
Every person at the heart of who we are wants to experience what it feels like to belong, to be accepted, and to be loved. And oftentimes, teen moms are not experiencing that reality.
These women in Young Lives are teen moms, and so they are going through something totally different than other high schoolers are going through. And for those of us who are moms and know what that's like, you just need extra support.
Young Lives wants to go out of our way to make sure that she knows, and her child knows, and her community knows that she is so important because she was made in the image of God and is loved tremendously.
Sometimes for a teen mom, it's just a shoulder to lean on. It's just an ear to listen to all the drama and the stress and the things that they're carrying in their lives and in their hearts.
Young Lives has a model where you have mentors, so you get to work one-on-one with these girls, walk alongside them. We have play dates a lot. I always go over to her house, or we go on walks at the park.
I could come out of my comfort zone and talk to someone that understands.
She just also helps me like further my career, like what I want to go in, or helping me like know what I want to do when I go into college.
It's going into the neighborhood, it's going into their high school and just make them feel like they matter. And that's kind of what's most important, especially to me, for them to know that they matter and that they have a voice and that they are important.
We are getting a chance to see girls finish high school, go to college, become leaders, enter into the opportunity to dream. And that's quite powerful.
It's more than a fun week at camp. It's more than club every once in a while. It is like, it's really every day. It is walking with moms, it's walking with children, that there's a God who loves them and cares for them and always will be there.
That seed that was planted years ago has kind of brought me to where I am today, and I'm so very thankful for that.
There is a place for you here. Teen pregnancy is in every community. Get involved in the lives of young parents, and you will be changed, generations will be changed, and our world will be changed.
So, Young Lives currently in our neck of the woods is here. The Ministry for Plainfield meets right here in the basement. And then we have a ministry in Patterson, which is in partnership with Lighthouse Pregnancy Center, if you've ever heard of them. We meet in their Hawthorne location. They just built a new building, and when they were designing the building, they designed it with Young Lives in mind so that there was rooms for childcare. So that ministry is going extraordinarily well. We're really thrilled with Patterson. We also are in Newark, and we're mostly in the South Ward, and we meet at St. John's Baptist in Newark. And then New Brunswick is our newest ministry that really launched during COVID, if you can believe it. And I'm gonna be talking a little bit more about this box program that we did, but that ministry launched during that time, and she now has relationships with 38 teen moms in New Brunswick. I personally did not know, but there are a lot of teen moms in the New Brunswick area. She's just touching the surface. So it's been very, very exciting. If you're able to make it on Thursday night, we have a teen mom sharing her testimony from New Brunswick that night. We had a couple other ministries we were trying to launch just over the border up into New York State in both Orange County and Rockland County, and they didn't survive the pandemic, so we hope in the next year or so to get those ministries up and launched. And then we're also in all 5 boroughs in the city as well. So when the video mentions it a bit, but when we are reaching out to teen moms, we try to find them in a lot of different settings. We follow the model of Jesus, of incarnational ministry, of Jesus coming down into earth. Like, he didn't ask us to come to him, he came to us. John 1:14 that talks about Jesus, the word became flesh and dwelt among us. That's the model that we use. And so we make relationships with the local high schools, maternity homes, potential shelters, pregnancy centers. We try very hard to have close relationships with pregnancy resource centers, hospitals. Sometimes we just have social workers in the community that do referrals for us, places where our teen moms are getting childcare for their children. But I mentioned here Life Pact, and some of you have shared with this already before, but Life Pact is something that we started during the pandemic, and particularly our teen moms in Queens. The beginning of pandemic, as you remember, when things were so horrible in Queens, those teen moms were not getting access to diapers and formula and that sort of thing. And so what I was doing here is going to the watch on Walmart and buying a bunch of supplies and shipping it. And actually, if you ship UPS from here into the city, it's next day. And so that started just reaching our girls that we already knew in Queens. And then what happened was social workers heard this was happening and started calling us and saying, we heard you're shipping out formula and diapers. We have teen moms in our program that don't have access. So we started shipping out more and more. And the next thing we know is that we were reaching girls that we had never met before. And so what we would do is ship them a box, and then that girl's information we'd give to the closest Young Lives ministry, and then that leader would reach out. I'm not going to say any more because I have a video to show you about this. But what I will say is that we house this at Grace Community Church in Bridgewater. They gave us a Sunday school room in their basement. I will say that at this point we've shipped out 900 boxes from that Sunday school room. So it's pretty extraordinary how God has used that little branch of our ministry, but I just wanted to show you this.
Life Pact is an initiative that was started by Young Life, and it's what we use to get basic essentials to our teen moms. It started in the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. It was a way for us to help get moms what they needed when stores were out of stock of things.
So a teen mom gets our online form one way or another, through a friend, through a Young Lives coordinator, through a social worker. She fills out the form and she's very specific about what she needs, what size diapers, what brand of formula, and if she needs food.
What we offer in our Life Pact for our teens are basic essential items, canned goods, breads, rice, pasta, and then there are items that they need for their children. Formula, diapers, wipes,
some toiletry items, some fun things that might have been donated for us, as well as a letter of encouragement that was sent by one of our volunteers, and then information about the closest Young Lives to her. Before the box arrives at that girl's house, she gets a call from the leader that lives the closest to her to introduce herself, to let her know the box is on the way, and also invite her into all of the rest of aspects of Young Lives. So the relationship actually starts with that girl before the box ever arrives.
The Young Life component of Life Pact is very important in that it really instills the relationship connection that Young Life does so well. Pact is a promise. It's an agreement that we make with our girls that we will show up beyond their package that they receive. So beyond the basic essentials we're giving them, we're also inviting them into a community.
Most of the girls that we serve come from broken homes themselves, and almost all the girls that we serve live in poverty. We train our staff and our volunteers to be able to walk into these girls' lives and be able to walk into some of that pain with them, and also offer them all the amazing things that Young Life offers, which is the gospel itself.
At Life Pact, we are so grateful for the support we've already received. We literally could not do what we do without our volunteers and our donors who've supported us every step of the way. And we know that Life Pact can do so much more, and we are looking forward to how this ministry will grow. We really need more volunteers. As we're reaching more kids, there's the need for more volunteer mentors and more boxes to help being packed. We also need financial sponsorships, we need corporate sponsorships, and we really need in-kind donations. And those are all ways that can help move the Life Pact initiative forward and reach more teens.
There are so many ways for you to be involved in this ministry, and it's very simple. Just go to lifepact.org and learn more. The idea of Life Pact that we started right here in Bridgewater is now in 30 cities across the country. So the idea kind of took flight, and we're being able to use that platform as a way to reach more moms. It's increased our number of teen moms that we know by 80%. So after we get to know the girls and build relationships with them, we invite them to club. And that's what happens here in the basement, second Saturday of the month, 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Just thought I'd throw that out for you to have that information. Club is our proclamation. Young Life doesn't let us do things like that unless we're giving the gospel. We have to always present the gospel every time we gather the girls together. And so we have it once a month, and we provide childcare over in the annex. And a lot of times we do a craft. We always have yummy food, thanks to Miguel, and we have an incredibly fun time together. And sometimes we'll have a silly character come out in a costume, and we have the girls play the craziest things. And we've been using tarps sometimes when we're doing some of that, right, Kevin? Sometimes when we do it, we're bringing tarps so we're protecting the carpet. Sometimes it's mist. But it is a great opportunity for girls to just have laughter. You know, the book of, is it Proverbs? Laughter is good medicine. Is that in the book of Proverbs? There's something pretty incredible, godly and beautiful that happens when you laugh, because you're letting down your guard. And we have learned that when girls are laughing and relaxing together, they're much more open to hearing the gospel as well. It just breaks down those barriers. So club is just a wonderful experience. In fact, we've started calling Helena the boss of club because she's in charge of the kitchen. And so I will say, if you ever want to send some cookies or send a thing of soup or something like that, you are always welcome to do that. And you can mention that to Helena, who kind of organizes all of the food once it arrives in the building. And so once the girls have been to club and we've gotten to know them, we invite them to camp. And Young Life owns camps all over the world. Our founder, Jim Rayburn, really believed that you needed to get kids out of their environment so that they can focus and really truly hear the gospel in a clearer way. And we know that many of us have stories of going to Christian camps in our young years. What's interesting about Young Life Camp, because for the most part, the kids that come have never heard the gospel before or have had little exposure to the gospel. They make sure that they really take the time to go through the gospel throughout the week and one point at a time. So there might be a night that they just spend on sin and spend one night talking about our need for someone to save us, and one night talking about the cross. And so over the course of the week, they're hearing the gospel. In Young Lives' case, we have to move a little slower. At a typical Young Life week, the meal happens in 30 minutes. Well, we know with babies, you cannot get through a meal in 30 minutes. When you go into the dining hall during the week of Young Lives Camp, there's over 100 high chairs in the building and all of these babies throwing food in all different directions. It's actually quite comical to see that. But the girls are getting an opportunity to experience camp. About half of the day they're spending with their babies and doing different activities, and about half of the day the babies are being able to be babysat by childcare. It's actually another opportunity for you to be involved. The week that we're going to camp this year is August 2nd through the 6th for the teen moms. Our childcare is arriving on August 1st. And many people think of that as a missions opportunity to go and just invest in the week. And so I wanted to show you yet another video.
My son's name is Kendall Joel. He is the love of my life. So this is my second year in Young Lives. I struggled last year with asking for help. And when it was time to take Kendall to the child care, I did not. I kept begging, like, can I just keep him just for 30 minutes and then I'll take him. When I would take him to child care, they knew Kendall by name. They would not fight for him, but, oh, I want Kendall this time, and I want Kendall this time. You know, I felt at home, like, okay, it's okay, they have him. And then at the end, our last day last year, I just cried because it was so hard seeing them. They had got attached to my baby. And I didn't know that would happen, but I was happy because it showed that they loved him.
Well, this is our 6th year together, serving in Young Lives Camp.
I look forward to this every year. I arrange my work schedule and my summer schedule around this 1 week. We can just spend this quality time together, be roommates again.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to hold that precious baby and, pray for it and encourage the mom. Just be used.
purpose of Young Lives Camp is to give the girls a week away from home, away from the distractions of life, and give them the opportunity to hear the gospel message and the opportunity to make a decision in response to that message.
My main priority was who was going to have Kenna. So very worried. Harry just came up and was like, you know, let me have her. And I remember going back to my cabin, I was like, I'm not going to be able to have fun. Everyone, when I came back there, was like, is this your baby? And it was like, I think Harry is pretty much attached to her. And I was like, yeah, I can see that.
McKenna is a little princess. She is just a cute little girl. We've had a great time together.
He's like that grandpa everyone wants.
I think I've seen God, especially in the mothers, how they've grown every single day. You can just see they're noticeably, they're happier and they're more connected.
We laugh together and we cry together, and this becomes this oasis of a community.
Kids are important, even as adults and as men and couples, to help these little ones to grow in their relationship with Christ, because they are important to Jesus.
It's just a beautiful picture of God knitting hearts together, and it's just another form of these girls learning how to trust God and trust the people of God with their kids.
The girls have a wonderful time at camp, and many of them make a decision to follow Christ. And then our follow-up with them is what we call campaigners, which is because initially the Young Life was called the Young Life Campaign. And so they kept the name of campaigners with those kids who made a decision for Christ and were outreaching their friends. And so a lot of times we do campaigner Bible studies virtually because it's just easier for girls with babies. And that's that discipleship. But we also include in discipleship is our volunteers just spending time with girls, taking their girl that they're mentoring to church with them, or having a one-on-one Bible study with that girl to continue to help her to grow in her faith and also grow in her parenting. A lot of times our girls don't have anyone showing them how to do things. And so it's so nice for them to have a trusting, caring person in their life that can help them with learning how to cook tonight's dinner or what to buy at the grocery store. One time we did a class with them on coupons. They thought it was the coolest thing that there's coupons. So there's a lot of opportunities to invest. As we think forward of some of the initiatives we're excited about, we're working with another ministry called Good News Home for Women. And we're dreaming with them about opening a home for homeless teen moms, and it would be for 5 or 6 beds. They are a ministry in Flemington that's for women who struggle with substance abuse, and it's been a dream of theirs for many years to have a program for moms and babies. And God has just kind of placed this on our lap, and so we're continuing to pray together and move forward with that idea. That's millions and millions of dollars, and it's pretty extraordinary, but we're already seeing God opening some incredible doors with that. Another opportunity that we have is we have a company in Princeton that wants to work with us for having an app on the girls' phones so that the girls can work on their goals, like if they're trying to finish high school, or if they're trying to get into college, it's giving them goals on their phone that they work with their mentor to try to reach those goals. And so that's another exciting initiative. Another thing that we're praying and dreaming about is that there's a segment of girls that we haven't been reaching, which is girls who are married and from Middle Eastern countries. So they might be 17 or 18 years old from a Middle Eastern country, and they're a teen parent, but they're not a single mom, and they are often isolated. Sometimes they're in abusive situations, and so we're thinking some creative ways to reach that population, and that would be girls in the Patterson and Jersey City area. We're finding our ministry up in Patterson at Lighthouse, or some of these girls are coming in for services at Lighthouse, and so we want to be able to offer them particularly having maybe a Young Lives Club that's in Arabic specifically for those girls. And then one of the initiatives we're really excited about that may be exciting for you as well here is we found during COVID, since we had to switch everything over to virtual, that the girls really were hungry for just information. Like, they love to have classes on different subjects. And so we're brainstorming a new idea called the YoungLives Institute, where the girls can log on to these classes. They might be GED classes. We'll have ESL classes running throughout the year, but also things like how to write a resume or how to be prepared for a job interview, or a lot of different ideas have come to the surface. And this would just be an option that the girls could sign up for a class, and then they can get a certificate if they complete it. So that's another thing that we're dreaming about for this year. But no matter what, we never want to miss the vision that we are called to be proclaimers of the gospel. And I am grateful for this church and for your commitment. Thank you for your commitment of allowing teen moms and babies who make messes down in the basement or in the annex and cause a lot of ruckus, but they're also hearing about Jesus, and it's worth the sacrifice. So thank you for that. Very immediately, an immediate need we have is this Saturday for our Young Lives Club. We're doing a spa day. So down in the basement, we'll set it up as little stations, and they'll go to one station and get a facial, and they'll go to another station and they'll get their nails done, and they'll go to another station and have little snacks. And so we need a lot of volunteers. Evangel Church has sponsored it. They're sending us all of the supplies. So now we need people. So I have a little sign up thing on my phone. I can text to you or email to you if you want to sign up for one of those stations. We need 4 or 5 people at each one. I was just in an event yesterday in Plainfield that a youth pastor put on. It was a community baby shower, and I met 6 new teen moms just yesterday. So we're hoping that Saturday is going to be a lot of fun with a lot of girls. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for praying for us, and please continue to pray for the teen moms here in the Plainfield, North Plainfield area.